The letter she was ordered to burn, a war secret that could have cost her everything. Virginia, 1864. The letter arrived just before midnight. 20-year-old Amara Bell was sitting beside her dying mother when 3 hard knocks echoed through their small wooden cabin. Her mother opened her tired eyes. "Don't answer it." Another knock came. Then a man's voice called from outside. "Amara Bell." Amara stood. "Who are you?" "Someone carrying a message from your brother." Her heart stopped. Her brother, Daniel, had been missing for 11 months. The last time Amara had seen him, he had been wearing a Union Army uniform and promising their mother that he would come home. He never did. After the Battle of Petersburg, Daniel had been listed as missing. No body. No grave. No final letter. Nothing. Amara opened the door. A young black Union soldier stood in the rain. His uniform was torn, and blood covered his left sleeve. He handed her a sealed envelope. "Daniel told me to give you this if I survived." Amara recognized the handwriting immediately. Daniel. Her fingers trembled as she opened the letter. Inside were only 6 words. "Trust the man wearing the black coat." She looked up. "What does this mean?" The messenger shook his head. "I don't know." Then he whispered, "Your brother wasn't killed in battle." Before Amara could ask another question, a gunshot exploded outside. The soldier collapsed. Amara dragged him inside as another bullet tore through the wooden wall. Then she heard horses. Several men were approaching. A voice shouted, "Open the door. We know the messenger came here." Her mother grabbed her hand. "Hide the letter." Amara pushed it beneath her dress. "Mother, I'm not leaving you." Her mother smiled weakly. "If you stay, Daniel dies for nothing." Amara kissed her forehead. Then she disappeared through the back door and ran into the darkness. By sunrise, she reached an abandoned church being used as a Union medical station. Inside, wounded soldiers filled every corner. At the center of the room stood a Union officer wearing a long black coat. Amara froze. The man in the black coat. She approached him and explained what had happened. His expression changed when she mentioned Daniel. "Where is the letter?" She handed it to him. He read it silently. Then he held it over a candle. The paper burst into flames. Amara stared at him. "What did you do?" "I destroyed evidence. My brother's last letter." "Yes. Why?" The officer closed the door. "Because your brother discovered a traitor." Amara's anger disappeared. "A traitor? Someone inside the Union command has been secretly selling military information to Confederate forces." Daniel knew who it was. He knew enough to become dangerous. Before Amara could respond, a wounded prisoner was dragged into the church. The man stared at her. "You're Daniel's sister." Amara stepped forward. "Where is my brother?" The prisoner laughed weakly. "Alive." Her eyes filled with tears. "Where?" The prisoner looked toward the officer in the black coat. "Ask him." Amara turned. The officer's face had gone pale. The prisoner suddenly reached for a hidden pistol. A gunshot thundered. He fell dead. The officer immediately fled through the rear door. Amara followed. She ran through the forest until she reached an old stone bridge. There, beneath the bridge, she found a blood-stained notebook. Inside were names, Union officers, supply routes, battle plans, and one final entry written in Daniel's handwriting. "If I disappear, the traitor will return to Amara." Amara heard footsteps behind her. The officer stood on the bridge, pistol raised. "Give me the notebook." She held it tightly. "Where is my brother?" "At an abandoned mill 3 miles north." "Is he alive?" The officer smiled. "Yes." Amara stared at him. "Why are you doing this?" For the first time, his expression changed. "I was promised money." "By whom?" He lowered his eyes. "The war has made men rich who were already willing to sell their souls." Suddenly, distant Union soldiers appeared on the road. The officer turned. Amara ran. She knew she had only minutes. She raced toward the abandoned mill. When she reached it, the door was locked. She forced it open. "Daniel." Silence. Then a weak voice answered from the darkness. "Amara." Her knees nearly gave way. Daniel was alive. He was sitting against a wooden wall, his body thin, his face covered with bruises, and one leg badly wounded. Amara rushed toward him, but Daniel raised his hand. "Wait." She stopped. "Why?" "Because someone followed you." Amara turned. The officer in the black coat stood in the doorway. Daniel reached for a pistol. But before he could fire, a group of Union soldiers stormed the mill. The officer was surrounded. The notebook had already exposed his crimes. He was arrested. For the first time in 11 months, Daniel was safe. But victory came at a terrible price. Daniel's injuries were too severe. The army surgeon told Amara that he might never walk normally again. That night, she sat beside her brother beneath a dim lantern. Daniel looked at her. "You shouldn't have come." Amara smiled through her tears. "You knew I would." He reached for her hand. "I thought I was never going to see you again." "Neither did I." Outside, distant cannon fire echoed across the Virginia countryside. The war was still raging. But inside that small room, Amara finally felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. Months later, the war ended. Daniel survived. He never returned to the battlefield. His injured leg remained a permanent reminder of what the war had taken from him. Amara kept his blood-stained notebook locked inside a wooden chest. She never became famous. No statue was built in her honor. No newspaper printed her name. But years later, when people asked her how she survived the darkest days of the war, she always gave the same answer. "I wasn't brave because I wasn't afraid." She would look toward the old chest containing Daniel's notebook. "I was brave because someone I loved was waiting for me." And perhaps that was the greatest truth hidden inside her story. Wars are remembered through battles, generals, and victories. But sometimes history survives because an ordinary person refuses to abandon someone they love. Amara Bell never carried an army. She carried a secret, a brother's hope, and the courage to bring him home. The end.